The 300 2.8 fluorite doesn't seem to be a very common lens. I couldn't find any video of it around. I guess maybe people don't like birding with manual focus. It's probably one of the sharpest telephotos I ever used. The fluorite was introduced before the Canon L series of pro lenses. You can find comparisons around showing it has the same optical qualities of the L series. It's likely just an older body design. I got mine with a conversion of FD to EOS. It's an ugly half conversion, but it works. It weighs probably a little over 2 kilograms if you consider the tripod collar. It's bulky itself. Even the lens cap itself, it's metal, and holding it felt like some kind of camping dish. It has a built-in lens hood that slides fairly easily, there isn't much friction. If you walk with the lens facing downwards, it's gonna slide out. It has a small filter slot in the back of the lens. It comes with a regular one, which is just UV. You could use a polarizer here, for instance. It's not overly heavy or huge if you imagine it's acting as a 600 5.6. It's one of those cases where using a micro four thirds you're gonna be at an advantage of the crop factor. When I first got it, it was for my Canon XTI. This past few years I've been using it on a micro four thirds, the Olympus EM5 with a custom shoulder stock and the EM5. On the Canon XTI it was almost always with a Kenko 1.4 teleconverter. It's a very difficult lens to use. When you get something sharp you're gonna be impressed, but it's hard. Sometimes you get the shoulder of a bird in focus and the head isn't. Despite its sharpness, when shooting against bright skies, which is a situation birds are bound to be, you're gonna have trouble with chromatic aberration. So you can see the amount of purple fringing. I'm not sure if modern lenses would be worse or better than this. It's a very demanding situation. The close-up capabilities are pretty bad. The minimum focus distance is at about 3 meters. It just doesn't look that bad when you're using it with the crop of a micro four thirds, which doubles your magnification. The image quality is complicated. I feel like it's one of the sharpest telephotos I ever used, but at the same time, look how much ghosting there is, it's cursed. This is one of the few examples where I could find ghosting in real-world shooting. Look at the beak of this hummingbird. It's hardly something you would notice if I've shown just this picture out of nowhere. At f4 there's practically no difference, there's sharpness and ghosting still looks the same. At 5.6 there's a sudden increase of contrast. At f8 it clears completely and it's very sharp and contrasty. I compared it with the Fuji XT2 APS-C sensor and it was clear right from the beginning there. I'm not sure what's giving this difference, maybe it's a filter stack problem? If you're new to digital camera sorcery, cameras of different formats have different thickness of glass on top of their sensors. It comes with the optical formula of lenses that weren't made with this in mind. The problems caused by this are mainly on the corners, especially on wide angles, so I'm not sure if this is indeed a filter stack problem, but let me know if anyone has the answer. Despite showing all that ghosting in the test chart, I think it's hard to complain about its image quality when seeing real-world images. I love the background separation I get with it, and 2.8 is something really desirable for the dark rainforest environment. Now there is a usability issue. It's ironic that I'm showing bird pictures, but I can't recommend it for birding. It might be reasonable to use it around bird feeders because your focus distance won't change dramatically. It was produced before Canon implemented internal focusing. This means that when you turn the focus barrel, it's gonna move the whole weight of the lens forward. And it's terrible to do that with just your fingertips. And there are so many turns between infinity and minimum focus distance. And the usability is fucking terrible because of this. It's the main reason why I never used this lens enough, even after getting used to all this weight. Having to turn the focus barrel so many times means that when you get focus, the bird already left its perch. And considering you're gonna move it with just your fingertips to be more stable, it's common to get your wrist sore after a whole day using it. I usually do the coarse focusing holding by the front of the lens, and after I get close to the actual focusing plane I'm gonna support the tripod collar with the palm of my hand and do the fine focusing. I imagine this lens has value for astrophotography or deep sky imaging, but since I don't have a tracking mount, I don't have any experience in that area. Because of that focusing problem, I might switch to the Tamron 60B soon, and if I do, you can expect a second video comparing both of them. You can visit Primal Shooter for more rainforest pictures, and let me know if you got suggestions for more tests.